Right, so you've set up the program. The next thing to do is to think about what's actually going on inside the computer. What I've got here is a little diagram showing you what's going on inside RAM. These are RAM chips, and this is where the computer holds your files and your data while you're working on them. And any computer system has this. Once you switch the computer off, what has been held in there disappears, but while you're working on them, they're sitting in RAM. So I've drawn a little set of pigeonholes, if you like. They're storage locations, and they are trying to represent what's going on inside RAM. And the amazing thing about programming is that you're allowed to name these storage locations. And if you understand that, then really programming isn't very complicated. You just have to be aware of where you've put data and what you called the storage locations. So when I run that program, I'm going to type in that I want, say, 3 coffees, and I want that 3 to go into one of these storage locations in RAM, and I'm going to name that storage location number of coffees. And then it'll work out the price for me, which will be £6.30. And that value will go into another storage location, which I'm going to call price of the coffees. Now you can call these locations anything you want, but you try and use meaningful names to help people understand your program if they need to. These are what are called variables. So when people talk about variables in a program, they're referring to storage locations in RAM and the names that have been given them. So I've got 2 variables here. One's called number of coffees, one's called price of the coffees. And these variables are the names of storage locations in RAM. So let's go to the program. So I'll just drop this down. And I'm going to write the program to put those numbers in those storage locations. So I'm going to go onto button, and I'm going to edit its script or its program. Now if you can't see this, then possibly you are on the wrong arrow up here. This is your edit tool, and this is the running tool, how you run the program. So if it's not working, then just try switching between those two. So I'll edit the script, and I get a place to put the program. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to put in a couple of comments to say who's writing the program. And I'm going to put that I'm working at Portobello High School, and I'll put that it's S3 Computing Science. So these are just little comments for myself or anybody else who's reading the program to give them information about it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do before I actually start writing the program is I'm going to tell the computer which storage locations I want to use. So if you remember, I've got a storage location that's called number of coffees. So I say number of coffees. And I'm going to say this is a variable to hold the number of coffees. So we'll just move that out of the way. And just to put in the other one, I'm going to have another variable or another storage location, and I'm going to call that one, let's just check what I called it, price of the coffees. Price of the coffees, and that's a variable to hold the price of the coffees. So a couple of points before we get to actual coding. First of all, your variable names in most languages don't let you have any spaces. Otherwise the computer has trouble working out what the variable is actually called. So no spaces. So quite often you're expected to use capital letters at the beginning of each word just to make it readable. So price of the coffees. And these internal comments, you might think, well, they're a bit obvious, but it's a good practice to get into, especially as your programs get more complicated. So you could pause the video here and just go into your button and put in your comments for your name and set up the variables that you're going to use.